Man, the real estate market in Chicagoland is hot. Whew. Huh? Oh
What?
yeah. My home is worth more than I paid for it.
That's funny.
Some new information out you may want to take judicial notice of or dutifully ignore, like the Chicago Press Corps will, and most who only survive in this state in a state of self-delusion. Illinois is the worst state in America for home appreciation in the last 22 years.
Wow.
Growth in median home values adjusted for inflation between 2000 and 2022. Illinois, 50th out of 50. Growth in real Illinois home values. Real! All you geniuses in the Western Burbs and the North Shore with your fancy degrees and your big jobs. Do you know what that means? It means adjusted for inflation. I had this conversation with somebody the other week. My home is worth more than what we paid for it. In real dollars? What do you mean? Illinois, over the last 22 years, growth in real home values, 13% in 22 years. Compare that to, say, Indiana, 30%. So, almost 2.5x. Other Dem states, well, there are 49 others ahead of them, so there's plenty of Dem-controlled states that are doing a lot better, too. Missouri, 45%. That's not Dem, it's Republican, but you get the point. Just looking at some of our neighbors. Kentucky, 33%. 2.5x. Illinois. Don't even get me started on the leaders in the nation. Texas, Florida, home values are up 100% over the last 22 years, where Illinois are up 13. Montana, Idaho, 117, 139%. No, I tell you don't have to be a magnet, like a magnet for the rich, like Montana and Idaho, but Utah's there at third, Amy. It's good to know.
Yeah.
But, I mean, again, all of our Midwestern neighbors, other blue states, cut it any way you want to cut it. Growth, I'm going to say it again. Growth in real Illinois home values since 2000, worst in the nation, and it's not really close. Michigan is second worst. Just a few states under 20% growth in real home values over those 2 decades plus. In a related story, new data out from the Tax Foundation finds Illinois with the second highest property taxes in the nation. This is close between us and New Jersey. Has been for a long time. 2.1% of home value. New Jersey's 2.2. Depends how you slice it, but let's go with the Tax Foundation's numbers. Let's be charitable to Illinois. 2.1% of home value is the property taxes you pay in Illinois. Compare that in Indiana, it's 0.08. Missouri, it's 1.0. Michigan, it's 1.4. I mean, these are not necessarily low-tax states, but they're still lower than here. Wisconsin, 1.6. And when you're talking about a percentage point or more, you're talking about a lot of money, right? A percentage of 1 percentage point of your home value. So you're talking about thousands of dollars, generally speaking. In some cases, tens of thousands. Okay. One has a lot to do with the other, as I've only been saying for 3 decades. By the way, something else, too. Another analytics outfit looked at the 50 property markets nationwide most at risk of a downturn. This is Atom Data Solutions. This is all at wirepoints.org if you want to peruse it for yourself. 12 of the top 50 property markets nationwide most at risk of a downturn are in Illinois counties. 12 of the 50. 20% of the property markets most at risk in a downturn in Illinois. And there are some counties you may be familiar with. Cook, Kane, Kendall. Will, and then some central and southern Illinois counties too. Peoria, Madison, St. Clair, Kankakee, DeKalb, LaSalle, Macon. But some metro counties, and I would suspect that Lake and DuPage are not far behind Kendall and Will and even Cook. I mean, here's part of the problem. Percent of income to buy a home in Will County is 40%. 5% of the home loans are underwater. In a place like, Peoria County, 15% of the homes are underwater. In a place like Cook County, 12% of the homes are underwater. But like Kane and Will, these collar counties that are on the watch list, because you have to pay out so much of your income, your household income, to buy a home there. Danger, danger, Will Robinson. Most units of government in the country, Illinois. Second highest property taxes. Worst return on investment over 2 decades, good times and bad. Stay the course. What do you say? For more on this, pleased to be joined by Scott the Cow Guy Shellady, market specialist for Market Day Report, 10:30 to 1 p.m. Cow Guy Close as well, 1 to 1:30 p.m., both at RFD-TV. Scott the Cow Guy, somebody who fled Illinois, I'm sure you're just shocked to hear these numbers.
I would just hate to be the marketing firm that the state would try to hire to make it look better. I mean, there's nowhere to turn. And, I don't know about you, but I think you said between the years 2000 and 2022, you've only gone up 13% in adjusted value, right, to inflation.
Right.
But if you've had to pay 2% out every year for 20 years
Yes.
in real estate tax,
Of course.
I got that as a loser.
I think you've scored that correctly. Yeah, of course you're getting hammered. Yeah, you're getting hammered.
I don't know why I'm laughing. I left when my real estate tax became more than my first job, and my first career job. It was ridiculous back then, and it still is, obviously. But I don't know how you spin it. But maybe they just don't, and they just don't report it, right? They don't even have to spin it if you don't report it. But I'm not surprised at all whatsoever. And there's a lot of folks that I know that are in real estate on the Indiana-Illinois border, and they're in Indiana, and they're just so thankful for the fact that people are jumping off that Illinois ship like rats off of a regular ship.
Do you know if you live in Indiana, your cable bill, if you're with Comcast or Xfinity, is about $50 cheaper just on taxes alone? Because I'm one of those people who call and say, how can I get my bill down? And the lady literally told me, move across the border to Indiana, and my personal would drop $60 a month in taxes.
I mean, I don't know what to say. I mean, except for the fact that the numbers don't lie. But at some point in time, like you kicked off the segment, Dan, the glitterati in Illinois won't talk about it. I mean, to me, it's a tragedy. And there's a lot of people, like you said, that are stuck because their homes are underwater. I don't know where you turn, and I can't believe that it's not even worse because of the way that state was treated over COVID. It was shockingly bad to me. The way that they've continued with those high real estate taxes is shockingly bad to me. I mean, anybody that wants to stick around there, I hope Brandon Johnson pushes the envelope to some of these financial institutions, especially with the Chicago Mercantile Exchange and the CBOE, the Chicago Board of Options Exchange, so those people just finally cut ties and leave because right now they've got their feet in cement.
Do you think that that there is a real chance that they leave absent a LaSalle Street tax?
I think they would leave only really because it's a lot easier to leave today than it would have been, say, 10 years ago. That's for sure. So they're much more mobile. It's one truck full of servers from Chicago to Miami, and you've got the Miami Board of Trade instead of the Chicago Board of Trade. But I think that you pay a certain. I talked to you about this. You pay a certain luxury tax for living in the city, right? Because you have better, you have the theater, you have movies, you have nightlife, you have restaurants, you have all these great things that you're willing to maybe pay a little bit more for because they're right at your doorstep. But not anymore. What is the redeeming value of being in Chicago? I mean, because all the railroads meet there? No, that was a 100-year-old idea. I mean, look, I moved from Chicago to Indiana just over the border into Portage, and there was a big bill done in it. Right? They've gotten I don't know, they spent $2 or $3 billion to run railroad tracks, to run the new train cars into Chicago. This high-speed line they're working on. And I told the mayor of whatever the biggest town out there, I said, Hammond, I said, why are you building a bridge to a place that people are leaving with their hair on fire? You'd be much better spent to turn some of these old abandoned buildings in Hammond and those surrounding counties around the lake there into tech centers where people can use them as offices or rent out offices by the month. Or I mean, it's crazy. I think Chicago is sinking, and when I was a professor of finance at DePaul University in 2015, we did a unit. I had the kids do something. It was Finance 401. Let's look at the city's books of Chicago, and they were technically bankrupt then. I mean, it was a shell game back then. I don't know what they're paying on their interest when they have to go out and sell bonds to raise money for the city, but it's got to be usurious now. I mean, what is going to turn that around? I have no idea, because I think it's beyond the point of return. And now you give me these real estate numbers. I mean, look, we still have, and you're talking to a guy that still has real estate there. We have a family farm in the northwest corner of Illinois, and we're worried about that. I mean, it's to the point where what could possibly take place there to make it better? Because you're actually that Raiders of the Lost Ark stone ball has started to roll. You can stop it.
Well, it's going to get worse. I mean, last night 7 more busloads of migrants came here, and I don't know if you heard, but Brandon Johnson wants to build a tent in each ward, 1 to 2 tents, like a yurt. Similar, no, they actually are yurts in each ward, and then now they're debating whether or not to have permanent housing in abandoned buildings.
I got an idea. Stop letting them in. I mean, what's wrong with that? This is clown world. Everything that they're doing to us, especially when it comes to the Democratic liberal policies, is to upset the middle class. Right? You don't have a border. You don't have police anymore. You're getting taxed to the hilt. I mean, what is there left? I mean, they're coming for your gas stoves, your ceiling fans. I mean, there was even reports that they were thinking about coming for your pets over COVID because they thought they were also spreading the disease. They are not leaving any stone unturned when it comes to disrupting the middle class and trying to make them feel so unnerved that they can get in their brains and start to control people. I think that's what it is. This is ridiculous. Every creature comfort they're taking away from you. They're taxing you to the hilt. They're making your house worth less than it was. Inflation's out of control. Name me one thing that's gone your way as a taxpayer in Illinois.
Well, in addition to that, now they set up what appears to be a de facto PPP program in Kyiv. I thought that was I thought that was for us. We've got a full employment, but we're putting funny money to prop up businesses and employment in Kyiv in Ukraine.
I had the senator from Kansas on my show on Friday, and he told us on air that the real tally is we've sent $113 billion in cash and munitions to Ukraine. Do you know what their annual GDP is? What? $200 billion.
$200 billion?
Yeah, and we gave them $113 billion so far. We've given them so far more than half of their annual output as far as an economy. It's absolutely insane. And by the way, they're going to keep. We pay for all 57,000 first responders in that country, every single one of them. Every single the small businesses are allowed to survive with the money that we're sending them. And by the way, if we have a shutdown, which looks as though it's a 70% chance we're going to, that money has been carved out. They continue to get paid. Their first responders get paid while our SNAP people lose their benefits. It's insane. I can't believe this is actually happening.
Meanwhile, over at the Federal Trade Commission, Lena Khan. Yeah, Lena
You've
Khan.
been waiting all day to play that soundbite.
Well, Shatner is worried about her too. She doesn't like big businesses, and I don't like them either. But I don't like regulators like Lena Khan even more. I mean, I have no affinity for Meta or Amazon, because of the nature of their politics. But I I'm not looking for the government to come in and regulate them out of existence either. She is looking to do that with Amazon, as she has previously tried with Meta and others.
Yeah. Well, it goes hand in hand with the fact that if you're a leader, that's a bad word. Winning is a bad word. Jeff Bezos starting a company, Amazon, from scratch. Now he needs to be punished. Okay? This is how they look at it. Success is bad. You need to be on our time. We need to be able the ones. We need to take care of you, not anything else. We need to be the higher power. I mean, it's mind control 101, and they're coming for every single thing. And if they can't, that's part of this EV thing, this electric vehicle thing. This is insane. It's got a bigger carbon footprint than a combustion engine. Yet, why are all these big three automakers falling over themselves to acquiesce to a mandate? I mean, it's costing Ford $4.5 billion a year to build a more climate unfriendly car than the combustion engine.
Right. And Trump's skipping the debate tonight to meet with, striking auto workers to let them know, hey, Biden wants more EVs, and that's going to cost you your union jobs.
Yeah, because it takes only 30 to 40% of the labor to make those than it does the other ones. I mean, this is insane. I mean, the average person needs to wake up and look in the mirror and go, I'm watching the downfall of one of the greatest empires of all time. I mean, it really is. I've never, ever thought one man could do this much damage.
Scott the Cow Guy, Shellady, market specialist for Market Day Report, 10:30 to 1, and the Cow Guy Close, 1 to 1:30, both at RFD-TV. Scott the Cow Guy, thanks as always.
All right,
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
When this is the sound of a waterfall in nature, there's no cause for concern. But when it's the sound of water gushing through your living room ceiling because a pipe burst inside the wall, there's reason to panic unless you pick up the phone and call 1-800-SERVPRO. Only the cleanup and restoration specialists at ServPro can help make fire and water damage like it never even happened. So make the call to 1-800-SERVPRO at the first sign of water damage. Franchises are independently owned and operated.
Hi.